Is going on, everybody, and welcome to this Saturday edition of the Stokastic NHL Strategy Show. I am your host, Josh Harris. It is 14 games today, but 10 on the main slate. It feels like a holiday not having to break down 14. It is just not fun trying to get 14 games in the time we have. But 10, I think, is manageable. I see Frostback has awoken from his slumber with all caps. That means he did not get tricked by an AI bot last night. You do love to see it, but we do have 10 games tonight. I see Cliffy has a lineup lined up, which means someone did well last night and I missed it. What's going on?
Yeah, not a whole lot. 10 games is nice. I like that sweet spot of like 7 to 10 games. We always say I find is kind of like the sweet spot, but a lot of interesting matchups. A lot of heavyweights not on the board. Obviously, Colorado's not on the board here tonight. Edmonton's not on the board here tonight. So
the Leafs are on the board.
Yeah, not a lot of super expensive lineups. Do have to shout out Slim 17 over on FanDuel. Took down the quarter arcade last night. Had the Kings top line, Horvat and Schaefer had big games for him. Cam Fowler, I think it was a goal and assist for him last night, difference maker for Slim 17. So he turned a quarter into $25. You can't really complain about that. Good for him on a 2 games Friday night slate. 10 game slate here tonight. I've had a few winners this week. Let's hope we can get another one here tonight.
Yeah, I don't care what sport, what site, winning the quarter arcade is one of the hardest things to do. So congrats to you. 10 games. We'll start it off with the Leafs and the highest total on the slate. Holy moly. Toronto Maple Leafs with a 2.7 total heading into Buffalo. The Sabres have a 3.9. Props to Austin Matthews for committing to the bit of getting Craig Berube fired. Actually, he probably is actually hurt.
He is, but that might also save Berube's job. It's like, I didn't have Matthews for 20 games this season or whatever. So
the agent went off on the 5-game suspension. Listen, the Department of Player Safety is atrocious, but pick and choose here. That's not the worst thing I've seen.
No, that's not the word. This is what I will say. I was looking this morning, and I just picked a random month from Brendan Shanahan's first month because he used to be the guy handing out the punishments. In December 2011, the 1 month of December, there was, I think it was 33 games worth of suspensions handed out for on-ice incidents. This entire season in the NHL, there's been 18.
Yeah.
So, this entire season's basically 2 weeks worth under what Shanahan used to do. So it's obviously, it is a cleaner game than it was, 15 years ago. The number of suspensions declining isn't a big deal, but 8x more suspensions 15 years ago, I don't think the game is that much cleaner.
It is always hilarious when you see Brendan Hagel cross-check somebody and decapitate them, and then the next morning it's Brendan Hagel was fined $5,000.
Yeah, he tried to Todd Bertuzzi the guy, and he got a fine.
Yeah, maximum allowable under the CBA. It's okay, buddy. Anyway, let's talk about this fucking game. Without Matthews. Wow. The Leafs are going Tavares, Nylander, Michelli, Nyes, Domi, Cowan. Can't even put Cowan on the top power play unit without Matthews. Almost as bad as the Rangers taking Gabriel Perreault off the top unit, but we don't have time for that. Sabres going back to some old lines here. They're going Thompson, Krebs, Tuck, McLeod, Zucker, Quinn, then Norris, Doan, Ostland. Listen, the Leafs are just not – this is an atrocious team. Now you take Matthews off of it. There's nothing that I want to play. I know Buffalo isn't world beaters defensively, but you look at these even these prices, it's not great. Yes, Tavares and Nylander are like not overly expensive, but they're 13-2 for the two of them. You throw Michelli in there, it's like 16 and change. There isn't a super expensive line here tonight. You have Carolina 1, but they're the only one over 20K. Like, there's a decent amount right above them, right? There's the Sharks, there's Tampa, there's Dallas lines, there's Vegas with Stone back, the Kings top line, even though they played yesterday. Like, and right below them, you have Pittsburgh, you have Utah, you know what I mean? So it's just like they're kind of priced in no man's land. One, Tavares hasn't really done much at 5-on-5 for a while. So, like, I don't really want to play the Leafs here. Their power play was already anemic, and you take Freddie Mercury off of it, and it's just going to be like it's going to be rough. So I guess I would probably go to one-offs for the Leafs side, like a one-off Easton Cowan, a one-off Matthew Nyes, something like that. Like, I don't think I'm going to full stack anything on the Leafs. I don't really want to play them at all on a 10-game slate, but, one-off Easton Cowan or something like that. Worse things have happened. On the Sabres side, with Thompson and Tuck back together, that does give me interest. Now, I don't really want to play Peyton Krebs, but it's going to be a good power play spot. So if you want to add in Norris, add in Doan, add in Zucker, I'd probably add in Doan. I think that is where I would go. Like, Alex Tuck, wish he was on the top power play unit, but he plays heavy minutes. He has good peripherals. Him and Thompson have played very well together this season. So, that's one route you can go. You could just straight up go Buffalo 2 or Buffalo 3, because there is going to be absolutely nothing there in the Toronto middle six, bottom six, whatever you want to call it. So I think, with Buffalo having a 3.9, you can just straight power play stack. You can straight play Buffalo 1. You can straight play Buffalo 2. You can straight play Buffalo 3. But I think my favorite thing is going Thompson, Tuck, and adding in Doan over Krebs or something like that. But no issue with going Buffalo 2 or Buffalo 3.
Yeah, the one case I'll make for Toronto 1 is like you said, they're not that expensive. 16,400. Like, you play a couple mid-price lines, and then all of a sudden, if you want to, you can pay up for Rasmus Dahlin or maybe even Zach Werenski, depending on what you play. So if you do want to get an expensive defenseman in, that's fine. The other is ice time, right? Like, Nylander's last 5 games, 23, 18, 18, 20, and then 24 in the game Matthews got hurt. Tavares, his last 3 games, 19, 20, 21. Like, these guys, and with Michelli there, it's perfectly correlated. Now, the power play wasn't very good. Can it get worse without Matthews? That's kind of what I'm thinking. Or without
it might get better, honestly.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. It's like, I don't know. So I don't hate the idea of playing Toronto 1, just because I think, like, at the low end, Michelli will play 18, 19 minutes, and then Tavares and Nylander will probably be around, if not over 20. And at 16,400 for a perfectly correlated top line that's going to play somewhere in the 18 to 22 minute range, it's not bad. So, and like, they have been good offensively together, right? 3.5 expected goals, 4.6 actual together. So I think losing Matthews is going to really hurt guys like Nyes, Domi, if Cowan, if you want to throw him in that bucket or whatever, like the guys that would play on the top line with Matthews. These guys wouldn't. They're just getting more minutes. And like I said, I don't know how much worse the power play can get without him. So I don't really hate playing Toronto 1 here. I think for me, it'd be more like if I was 20 maxing or above or something, single entry. I'm not super excited about them. The Buffalo side obviously is the interest here. The other, we talked about, I think it was on Thursday, what the Chicago power play might look like without Connor Murphy and Jason Dickinson. Now, the Leafs got rid of Scott Laughton and Nicholas Roy, 2 of their 3 most used penalty killers this year. And the one thing the Leafs have had this year is a good penalty kill. Is that going to hold up? Like, I really don't know. So I don't I don't mind just straight playing Buffalo 1. I do think I would want to get some of the power play guys in, because all of a sudden with Buffalo's power play is as good as it is, like not elite, but good. I do think there's reason to, do like a Norris, Doan, Thompson 3-man, or a Doan, Norris, Zucker 3-man if you want to keep things relatively cheap, like something like that. I'm not sure I would even strength stack any of the Buffalo lines. I would probably lean towards the power play, just because I'm not sure that Toronto's penalty kill is going to hold up down the stretch, losing the guys that they did. And even Matthews killed penalties too. Like, he wasn't one of the most used guys. Like a minute a game or something like that. Like, that's not nothing. So I really don't mind some sort of Buffalo stack. Like, if you hate not having Tage Thompson in, which I totally get, and he is the second highest projected skater on the board here tonight. Only Macklin Celebrini is higher, so leaving him off might be a little bit scary. But I would do, like, if you do want to play Thompson, I would be more inclined to include some of the power play guys than I would be to just even strength stack his line.
Yeah, I get your point about the Leafs top line not being super expensive, but the top line for the Sharks in the next game is only $500 more. San Jose Sharks with a 3 total heading into Montreal. I don't know what kind of accent that was. The Habs have a 3. I have had way too much caffeine today. They have a 3.6. Igor Chernyshov back up for the Sharks on the top line with Celebrini and Smith. Then they're going Misa, Toffoli, Eklund, Wenberg, Sherwood, Groff. Montreal going Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky, Evans, Doc, Bolduc. Listen, like, Igor Chernyshov was up for like 10-ish games, something like that, maybe a little bit less. But he actually had some of the best numbers with Celebrini that Celebrini had in his career so far. You throw him in there with Will Smith. Chernyshov is min price. So, that makes that top line 16,900. I understand it's not the best 5-on-5 matchup getting the Suzuki line. But, I think is it Jacob Fowler in that again?
No, I think it's Dobish starting tonight.
Or Dobish, whatever. I mean, like, Dobish has been their best goalie this season, but Celebrini is fast tracking his way into matchup proof territory. A 16,900 top Sharks line. Celebrini has the top projection on the board here tonight. It's a good power play spot. You get Celebrini and Smith on the top power play. If you wanted to turn it into a little bit more of a power play stack, you can add Wenberg, but at min price, Chernyshov like gets you an assist, a shot, a block, and you're good. Like, he actually didn't look out of place when he was up there. So I am interested in that top line. I think the Misa, Eklund, Toffoli line is still viable. If you're doing some sort of like Vegas power play stack or something like that, or something expensive, they're a fine filler. But it would be San Jose 1. If you did want to turn it into more of a power play opportunity, you can leave off Chernyshov, add into Toffoli or Wenberg. But I'm most likely just going to leave Chernyshov there if I'm playing Sharks, because he's going to be min price. He may play 14, 15 minutes. So I'll just leave him there. Now, the one thing, we don't have Chernyshov in the top stacks yet, but with Groff there, they were already right at their top 2 stack at 12.6% in terms of ownership. With Chernyshov there, I would imagine it goes up just because the price gets cheaper. That's just something to keep in mind. On the Montreal side, it's the top line. They have the highest top 2 on the night, 18.8%, 11.9% projected ownership. They're fully correlated. It's a great 5-on-5 spot. It's a great power play spot. There really isn't much else to say other than if you're not spending up for Carolina, this is probably the spot I would spend up to, and 19,800 really isn't price prohibitive. The Celebrini matchup is an advantageous one for them at 5-on-5. Just like Bedard, there hasn't been a Celebrini line in the history of Celebrini that has been good defensively. So I do really like that top line for Montreal. I think, if you are doing something super expensive and you want the home line instead of the road line, you can get like a 2-man of Evans Doc or Doc Bolduc, something like that. They have been very good in a 70-minute sample. So, I do. It is both top lines here. I lean Montreal, but the Sharks top line is about $3,000 cheaper.
Yeah, I'll start on the Montreal side. Like, there is a reasonable amount of ownership on them, as I showed on the screen, like around 12% projected ownership. That's not really that bad, and there are a lot of decent filler lines here tonight. Like, I was, just going through the slate for the lines between 11 and 13K. I would say there's like 6 that I think are fairly playable to play, and they're all projected for 5% ownership or less. So, I don't really mind playing Montreal one here tonight. And, as you mentioned, it is like a reasonable power play spot for them. The Sharks, basically an average penalty kill all season by goals against per minute. They do take penalties, 9th most time shorthanded in calendar 2026, 9th most over the course of the season. Montreal's is fine at drawing power play. So it's a pretty good matchup for him. And like Chernyshov and Celebrini, like they were good offensively together. I'll get to that in a second. They were also at 3.2 expected goals against per 60, like trading chances.
That's still better than Celebrini and Smith.
That's true. That's true. But they were trading chances in the Montreal top line. Very good at capitalizing on the smallest mistakes. I do worry about ice time. Like, this is a line that is 19. That is almost 20K, 19,800, and Suzuki is probably going to be the only guy breaking 20 minutes. So that is a bit of concern. Caulfield was sick this week. He's playing tonight. It's one of those, like, how sick was he? Was it just like 24 hours and he's fine now, or is it kind of lingering and he's playing anyway? I do think there are reasons not to just jump headfirst into Montreal, but yeah, this is a great matchup with a this is a 3.6 total too. Like, for a perfectly correlated top line with a 3.6 total, there are a lot of reasons to like Montreal one. I'll also mention that Doc Evans Bolduc line. Like, they have been pretty good together, right? 59 shot attempts, 2.7 goals per 60 minutes. They don't get a lot of minutes, but they're also going to get the depth from the Sharks, which also have not been very good defensively. I think they're fine as a filler, but given the power play correlation on the top line, I'd be very intrigued in just stacking Montreal one. Now, the San Jose side, Chernyshov played 15 games. A lot of those games earlier in the season, a lot of those games were next to Celebrini. They have 170 minutes together, 3.5 expected goals, 4.3 actual. They were tremendous. Now, they do get a bad matchup against the Montreal top line, and it is Dobish starting, not Montembeault. That's a pretty big difference, at least so far this season. But it's a very, very good power play spot for San Jose, right? Since January 1st, the Sharks are third by times on the power play per game. Over the course of the season, they're second. So one of the best teams at drawing power plays. We know Montreal gives up a ton of power play opportunities, and the Sharks power play is night and day with Dmitry Orlov running it. Goals per 60 minutes is doubled compared to John Klingberg. Expected goals is up nearly 20% with Orlov as opposed to Klingberg. Like, it is a legitimately good power play. Not elite, but good. Above average, certainly, for a top power play unit. So I really do like some sort of San Jose stack, but the fact that Chernyshov is 2,500 would make me want to do like San Jose 1 plus, right? So like San Jose 1 plus Tyler Toffoli, San Jose 1 plus Alex Wenberg, like something like that. I would get another one of the power play guys in because it's such a good power play spot. But for me, it's both top lines in this game. I think the Misa Eklund Toffoli line is fine if you want to stack them, honestly, because they've been pretty good offensively. 3 goals per 60 minutes, 60 shot attempts per 60 minutes. But really, given the power play matchup for both teams, it's the power play guys I'm looking to.
Oh, yeah. Actually, probably going to watch that game. Not going to watch this game. Calgary Flames with a 2.8 total heading into Long Island. Sucks for everyone involved. The Islanders have a 3.2 total. George R.R. Martin's from Long Island, and that tells you all you need to know. That place is so miserable, he created a fantasy land in his head. So there you go. Flames going Backlund, Coleman, Farabee, Strome, Sharangovich, Olofsson, Frost, Greedon, Coronado. Islanders played yesterday with Sorokin, so we were kind of talking about this before the game or before the show. Maybe they go back to Sorokin here, but if not, it's going to be big save David. And they also moved Barzal back to the top line with Horvat and Heineman halfway through the game and stuck it out for the rest of the game. That line would be 16-3 if that was the case. And then it was Shen, Palat, Ritchie, Pajot, Lee, Holmstrom. Fuck. The Flames. But here's the thing. Like, they don't have a massive amount of negative leverage here. And Coleman back on Farabee's 11-2. They're going to play heavy minutes. The Islanders suck defensively. It could be big save Dave in net. He has not been very good in his most recent stretch. You know, Coleman and Farabee have played pretty good together in a limited sample. I think a lot of that was with Morgan Frost, maybe. I forget what center it was, but Backlund's their best center. So I don't mind Backlund, Coleman, Farabee here. 11,200, 2.2% top two, 3.6% projected ownership. Like, for the Flames, that's a miracle because normally on this slate, you'd see them at 2.2% top two with like 9% projected ownership. At 3.6, I am interested. Now, if you do want to get cheaper, if you are doing some wild power play stacks, Strome, Sharangovich, Olofsson's 8,800 and they're fully correlated. That I wish like one time get Colorado or like Edmonton in a good power play spot on the board, like doing like a 2-mana Sharangovich Olofsson for 5,900. But you know, I'm not just gonna put Strome, Olofsson, Sharangovich in and like then build around them. Like if I need a cheap guy or a cheap one-off, they're fine. The Islander side's interesting because it's back to back. But if it is Horvat, Barzal, Heineman, they're right in that range of San Jose 1 and Toronto 1. I'd much rather play the Islanders than Toronto. I think I'd rather play the Sharks, but this is a pretty good matchup despite it being Dustin Wolf and net. You know, Horvat and Barzal have great numbers together. With Heineman, they're going to be better than they were with Palat. So if it is Barzal up on that top line, it would give me interest. I think, you know, Pajot, Holmstrom, Lee at 10K even is a filler line that I would use as well. But it would be Islanders one, assuming Barzal is there.
Yeah, I do think Coleman, Backlund, Farabee is one of those lines. Like if you are playing Montreal or Carolina or whatever, like you can put them in. Coleman and Farabee, 65 minutes together this season, 3.1 expected goals, 2.7 actual. That's actually not bad, especially considering it's the Calgary Flames. You know, they won't get a pile of ice time, but I imagine they'll be between like 17 and 19 minutes. There's no power play correlation, but like I think we gave up on power play correlation for the Flames like 3 months ago. So that's
3 years ago.
Yeah, it's true. So that doesn't really matter. Like I think they're fine as a filler. I'm not specifically targeting the Flames here tonight, though. The only way I play the Islanders is if Barzal and Horvat are on the top line together. That line with Heineman approaching 100 minutes together, 3.8 expected goals, 3.1 actual, 3.1 goals scored per 60 minutes, shooting under 8%. The league average of 5-on-5 is like 9.1 or 9.2. So they're 25% better than league average while goal scoring while shooting under 8%. It's because they generate so much offense when they're together. Not really worried about any of the matchup from the Flame side. Like I would have interest in a Barzal, Horvat, Heineman stack if that is indeed what we see at warmups. You know, 16,300. I agree with you. I would probably rather play San Jose. I would rather play them than Toronto, but I would have San Jose above them. So they're not right at the top of my list in that price range. I think they're perfectly fine. if they're not together, I don't think I'm playing the Islanders here tonight. Like maybe the Pajot line in a 20 max if you need a cheap filler or something. But if they're not together, I think Calgary 1 would be my favorite line in this game.
Yep. It looks like Riddick is confirmed, by the way. So there's that.
Perfect.
Los Angeles Kings with a 2.6 total heading into New Jersey. Miserable weather in New Jersey today. Cold and windy. The Devils have a 3 total. Kings going, they played last night. They're going Kopitar, Panarin, Kempe, Byfield, Moore, LaFerriere. Devils going Hischer, Meyer, Mercer, Hughes, Bratt, Connor Brown. Glass, Greetsuk, Lenny Hamill. Mention them because they are 8,300, and you can use them as a filler in power play stacks. They are still good. But this is an interesting one because I know the Kings are back-to-back on the road, and they're kind of in that Montreal 1 price range, but no one's playing them, 2.2% projected ownership, and the Devils are ass. This Kings top line since Panarin has got there in 90 minutes, you know what I mean? With Kopitar, 3.7 expected goals, 4 actual. I don't care if they're getting the Nico Hischier matchup. They have been below league average defensively. It is Jake Allen in net, and, he's been their better goalie, but it's not like he's having a great season. I think he has a league average save percentage. So if you're not playing Montreal, I think the Kings are the pivot in that range. They do interest me. They are fighting for a playoff spot, so this game matters to them. It's not like it's just we're going into New Jersey and going to eat barbecue after whatever. So, I don't mind that top line. That second line at 12,400, Byfield, LaFerriere, Moore. Byfield and LaFerriere have played very well together this season. That Hughes line, nothing special defensively. In fact, pretty bad. So as a filler, I don't mind them. I wish they weren't back-to-back on the road, and that's where I'm having issues getting there in single entry. But, they have 2 playable lines. Even Lawton, Turcotte, Wright at 7,700 would be playable, but there's absolutely no reason to go to them here tonight. I'd rather just go to Glass, Greetsuk, or something like that. So Kings' top 2 lines are in play for me. On the Devils side, I think it would be the Jack Hughes line, just because they're fully correlated at 16.8. Another one of those lines right in the Leafs price range that I'd rather play than the Leafs. 7.2% top 2, 7.1% projected ownership. The Kings' penalty kill is bad. They take a ton of penalties, and it's Anton Forsberg in net. Now he's had a great season. He's not Darcy Kemper, so I would go to the Hughes line over the Hischier line, but it would be – I honestly think the Kings' top line is my favorite in this game.
Yeah, when I ran the Sims for this slate, it only gave me back 2 players from New Jersey with exposure above pool ownership, which means more ownership of these guys in the top lineups than the overall pool of lineups that I'm picking from. The 2 guys were Jake Allen and Jack Hughes. All the skaters were negative, and some pretty significant negative for Dougie Hamilton, Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt. The Sims not really super high on the Devils here tonight. I'm not either. It is a really good power play matchup though. That's the one thing, right? Is the Kings, it's not, they're not a super undisciplined team or whatever, but they are taking the 6th. They do have the 6th most time shorthanded per game this season. The New Jersey power play, we always say it's a lot better with Dougie Hamilton. That second New Jersey line is perfectly correlated. I think there are reasons to play the Jack Hughes line here tonight, but there's, we talked about San Jose earlier is in that price range. Toronto, the new top line is going to be in that price range. Vegas is right there. There are other spots you can go to. I think for the Devils, I would be more inclined to just one-off players, right? I'd be more inclined to one-off Nico Hischier, one-off Jack Hughes, certainly play 1 or 2 of their defensemen than I would be to outright stack anything. on the Kings side, like it's interesting because there are 6 lines on the slate here tonight between 18 and 20K. 3 of them are projected to have double-digit ownership. That's Montreal, Vegas, and Dallas. 2 of them are the 2 Tampa Bay lines, and then the other one is Los Angeles. So, like, if you want to play an expensive-ish line here tonight with low ownership, and you don't want to choose between one of the Tampa lines, this is the only line there, right? So, in that sense, and like you said, they've scored 4 goals per 60 minutes together. They're all skating. Like everybody in Los Angeles' top 6 is now skating like 20 plus minutes a game. It's like their bottom 6 basically doesn't exist. So they are going to get around 20, if not over 20 minutes. They are perfectly correlated. Now, New Jersey's penalty kill has been a lot better lately. I was looking earlier. Since January 1st, the Devils are 3rd by goals against per minute on the penalty kill. They're 8th by expected goals against. So, like, the penalty kill has legitimately been better over the last 2.5 months. A lot better. So I guess I'm fine with the Kings top line, but honestly, I think I kind of agree with you on Laferriere, Byfield more, just because if the New Jersey penalty kill is legitimately very good now, I think they're better goalies in net in Jake Allen. I'm not super concerned about the power play correlation. And Laferriere, Byfield, Moore, you mentioned 70 minutes together, 3.4 expected goals, 4.4 actual. Trevor Moore is getting the lowest amount of ice time lately of those 3 guys, and he's getting 19 minutes a game. Like, he has 25 shots in 8 games since the Olympic break. Okay, so like these guys are getting involved offensively. They're going to avoid any sort of shutdown matchup from New Jersey. So I think if I play any even strength line out of this game, it's that Kings second line as a filler.
Yeah. Carolina Hurricanes with a 3.1 total. Heading into Tampa, the Lightning have a 3.4. Carolina going Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis, Stankov, and Hall, Blake, Stahl, Martinook, Ehlers. Lightning going Point, Kucherov, Gonsalves, Cirelli, Hagel, Gensel, Gord. Well, the Gord line. No reason to say it. They're min price. But why I just said Yanni Gord out loud is because I was thinking about his name, because he's going to get that Carolina 1 matchup, and it kind of takes me out on Carolina 1. I know we talked about how Tampa has been pretty poopers defensively in the Discord, but not this Gord line. They have been nasty, and the top line for Carolina is 21,700. It's just too expensive in this matchup. I would want to see them at home in a good power play matchup. So for me on the Carolina side, it would be that second line. Surprise, surprise. Blake, Stankov, and Hall at 12.6, 0.7%, top 2.1% projected ownership. Now, the thing is, like, that Kings second line that we just talked about is cheaper in a better matchup. So, maybe you want to go down to Stahl, Ehlers, Martinook at 10.8. I think they're fine as well, but it would be the middle 6 of Carolina. I don't particularly love them in single entry. The Tampa side, no one's playing them either. I'd probably, because this isn't a very good power play matchup, I'd probably lean Cirelli, Hagel, Gensel at 18.4. Just because, like, Gonsalves isn't going to play a lot. I know he's been good of late, but, like, he's going to play his 12, 13 minutes and call it a day. So if he doesn't hit the score sheet, it's kind of meh. So I would lean Cirelli, Hagel, Gensel, but this game, despite it being a 6.5, I'm leaning towards more MMA. You are muted.
You're right. I am. I'm not super interested in the Carolina top line. Like, again, said it all season. Lines that expensive on slates this big, I usually don't play them. On the road in Tampa against Vasilevsky, like, that's just not something I'm super interested in. Now, I think it was Henry brought up in our chat that, yes, Tampa Bay's been fairly porous defensively recently. We do have to chalk a lot of that up to Jonas Johansson. Like, Vasilevsky's given up 14 goals in his last 5 games. Like, you give up under 3 goals per game, like, that's not a lot. So if you get a couple Carolina and 150 max, I think that's fine. But I agree with you on the second line. If I were to play anything from the Hurricanes, since Jacob Slavin returned 2 months ago, they're at 3.6 expected goals, 3 actual per 60 at 5-on-5. They're going to avoid the shutdown matchup from the top line. And like, over that recent little slide from Tampa Bay lately, like Zemgus Girgensons, Yanni Gord, and Oliver Bjorkstrand, I know he's on that line, but he's in the bottom 6, have the 3 lowest goals against rates of their forwards. It's the top guys that are really struggling defensively more than anything. So I want to avoid that Holmberg Gord matchup. So for me, it is Carolina 2. I do think they're perfectly fine as a filler here tonight. Again, I think they're one of those lines that you can put in, like if you're playing Montreal and you want to get like a 12K line in or whatever. This is one of them at 12,600. But I'm not super excited about playing the Canes here tonight. I think I'm more interested in their defensemen than I am. Than I am in their forwards. On the Tampa side, like, it's tough because they're split. The lines are split with all their useful players. They are fairly similarly priced. We always say Carolina's penalty kill struggled to start the year. It's also been a lot better since Jacob Slavin came back. Point Gonsalves, Kucherov, like, they've been pretty good together. Over 100 minutes, over 110 minutes actually together. 3.7 expected goals per 60. Gage has 7 points in his last 10 games. They're not going to see any of Carolina 1. They're going to see more, I think, of that second line, maybe even the fourth line at times. That's probably where I would lean here, is Kucherov, Point, Gonsalves. And when I ran, just quickly, when I ran Sims, it gave me almost no Carolina. A lot of negative leverage for Jarvis, for Aho, for Svechnikov. So it wasn't really, the Sims that I ran weren't really super high on Carolina, and they weren't that high on Tampa Bay either. Kucherov -4%, Darren Radish is there, Cirelli at -2.8, Gord, and those guys, like the cheaper guys, somewhere around even. So if you want to one-off, I think I'm more interested in one-offing again. One-offing Hagel, one-offing Kucherov, certainly. I mean, we say the tough matchup and all that, but, Kucherov still has it's the 6th highest projection of any skater tonight, 3rd highest of any winger at 1-2% ownership. I think that makes a lot of sense if you do have the salary for one-off Kucherov, but I think that's it. I think this is honestly a game where I might be more interested in one-offing a forward and then adding a defenseman than I would be even strength stacking any of the lines.
Not our Columbus Blue Jackets with a 3.2 total. Heading into Philadelphia, the Flyers have a 2.8. Starting Merzlikins, still have Sillinger on the top line. Like, not our.
I'm pretty sure it's Grieve starting.
Is it?
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
My best puck teams rejoice. But Sillinger is still on the top line with Fantilli and Marchenko. Boo! Marchenko was with Coyle and Olivier, and then Monahan, Garland, Johnson. On the Flyer side, Dvorak is a game-time decision. He didn't really skate in rushes this morning. Couturier was in his spot with Bump and Konechny, and then Zegras, Tippett, Grabankin, Cates, Barkey, Michkov. It's like, yes, the top line is now 14,500 with Cole Sillinger on it, but it now has Cole Sillinger on it. So, like, I don't really want to play them. Like a one-off Marchenko, he's cheap for him at 5,800, I think is fine. But I'm more interested in the depth here. Like, if you want to go to Coyle, Marchment, Olivier at 11,700, you still get 2 guys on the top power play unit. You get good 5-on-5 matchups because the Zegras line, the Cates line really have not been great defensively. it is Danny V in net, and the Flyers don't have the best penalty kill. I wish it was Urson, but we know why it's not Urson. But if you want to go Coyle, Marchment, leave off Olivier and add in Marchenko for more power play, I think that's fine. I'm fine with just straight up Coyle, Marchment, and Olivier. Since Charlie Coyle got on the top unit, the Columbus power play has been much, much better. I think the other line that interests me is Monahan, Johnson, Garland. They don't play a ton, but they're 10,600, and they've been really, really good in their 3 games together. Again, there really isn't a matchup concern for me. I'm more in on the depth of Columbus than the top line. On the Flyers side, it's a good power play matchup, but I don't know how good the Flyers power play has been. I will say, I saw them score a power play goal the other night, which is more than I can remember for other times. So, at least there's that, I guess. We'll have to see if Dvorak plays. It's kind of important. If he doesn't, I think it would be Zegras Tippett. It's either Gurbankin or Grunstrom. I think they're both min-price, but
it's Gurbankin with Zegras and Tippett.
Yeah. I think that's where I'd go if Dvorak's out. If Dvorak's in, it would be that top line, but for now, it will be Zegras, Tippett, Gurbankin.
Yeah, I'll start on the Columbus side. Again, when I ran the Sims for this slate, every single Columbus skater it spit back at me had negative leverage, with the most being on Fantilli, Werenski, Marchenko, and Marchment. Sims don't really love Columbus here. I don't really love Columbus here with Cylinder on the top line. Listen, we slander the guy. He doesn't do the things that you look for to create fantasy points, right? That's all we care about. But if we want to debate whether he's a useful or a good NHL or whatever, that's one thing. To create fantasy points, you need the puck on your stick or you need to shoot, and he doesn't do either. That's just kind of the reality of it. His playmaking, looking at the tracking data, is below average, which is a real tough problem when you're skating on the top line with Kirill Marchenko and Adam Fantilli. If you're not a good playmaker, what are you doing? How often he carries the puck into the zone, the league average is 52% over the last 2 years. He's at 39%. So you're playing dump and chase with Adam Fantilli and Kirill Marchenko. I don't think that's probably what you want. And his shot rate's about league average, and he's a bad shooter. That's the other thing about Cylinder.
He's Johnny Brzezinski.
Listen, this is his 5th season in the NHL. His last 4 years by shooting percentage: 5.6, 8.5, 8.5, 3.2. His last 4 years, he's shooting under 7%. So he can't finish. He doesn't shoot a lot. He doesn't pass the puck, and he can't carry the puck. He doesn't do the things that creates fantasy points for himself or for others. So I'm saying all this, and now, congrats to Cole Cylinder on his 2 goals and 1 assist tonight.
For sure.
But that's why I don't like Columbus. The Sims don't like Columbus. I'm out on Columbus. I agree with you. If anything, it would be that third line with Marchment. Marchment's, speaking of tracking data, his looked very, very good this year. They're not that expensive at 11,700. 0.7% top 2 stack, 0.6% ownership. If Dvorak is in, they're going to avoid the Dvorak matchup. And once you get past that matchup, it's smooth sailing. So I do like the Marchment, Coyle, Olivier trio. If you want to just do Marchment, Coyle, that's fine. Whatever you want to do, that's the line I would focus on Columbus. On the Flyers side, I don't really have interest in playing Dvorak and Alex Bump. They haven't created a lot offensively together so far this season. Konechny and Dvorak without Zegras haven't really been that great offensively this season. For me, it's the Zegras line. It's Zegras, Tippett, Gurbankin. If you want to leave in Gurbankin because he's cheap, I think that's okay. Zegras and Owen Tippett this year have been pretty good offensively together, regardless of who they've had, whether it's Konechny or Grundstrom lately or whomever. They've been able to create offensively. The Sims weren't super high on the Flyers either. I don't think that's a big shock to anybody, really. But if anything from the Flyer side, even if Dvorak's in, it would be the Zegras Tippett line. You want a one-off Travis Konechny or something like that. I have no argument with that. But I honestly think Columbus 3 is my favorite line in this game. I have no interest in the top Columbus guys.
Yeah. Congrats on Zegras for getting away from Greg Cronin. Like, he's actually become a good player.
It's funny, look, because even Ryan Poehling was part of the trade that went back. Like, Poehling's having a pretty good season with Anaheim too. It seems like it's a trade that's worked out for both sides so far, but I think I'd still rather have Zegras.
Detroit, the Wings, 2.4 total. Heading into Dallas, the Stars have a 3.1. Wings going Comfort, DeBrincat, Kane, Casper, Finney, Raymond. Stars going Johnson, Robertson, Bork, Duchesne, Ben, Steele. There is negative leverage on DeBrincat, Kane, Comfort going right into the teeth of Haskin and Lindell. Hasta la vista. I'm out on the Wings. Okay. If you happen to get like a 2-man of Casper Raymond or something like that in your Sims and 150, fine. But other than that, like, go eat some bricks. The Dallas side is much more interesting to me. The top line, 18,800, 15.2% top two, 13.1% projected ownership. Now, they're missing Larkin. They're missing Kopp. That top line is going to see the Sider-Edvinsson pairing, but, like, cool. Comfort, Kane, and DeBrincat are atrocious defensively. So I do like Dallas. It's just a matter of in that range. Cliffy talked about it. They're one of 6 lines, and they're one of 3 lines that have double-digit ownership between 18 and 20K. They have positive leverage. It's a good spot. I think I'd go to Duchesne, Ben, and Steele again. They've been excellent in 114 minutes. They avoid the Sider pairing. Once you get past them, Sherratt, Falk, whatever. Jacob Bernard Docker, Albert Johansson, like 2 nice names, but they're just names at this point. So I guess if you wanted to make it more of power play, you could leave off Steele and add in Wyatt Johnston or something if you wanted to do that. I'm fine with either of the top 2 lines. I don't think I would prioritize Dallas 1 and single entry in that range. I prefer Montreal. I'm completely fine with them in MME, obviously. So for that reason, I would go to Duchesne, Ben, and Steele at 11-6. They're one of my favorite fillers on the night. So both Dallas top 6, but I lean Dallas 2 just because of the way I want to build tonight.
Yeah, this will be a common refrain until they get healthy. I'm out on the Wings tonight. On the Dallas side, like, I do think that, like, both lines are very playable. I have no problem if you need a filler, go play Dallas 2. If you want to build around Dallas 1, play Dallas 1. The Dallas top line, though, like, they're just getting minutes, which is, I think, a big problem here. And, they are going to run into Evanston Sider a little bit. They're also going to see a fair bit of Falk and Sherratt. It hasn't been a great start. I mean, they've scored. Detroit scored well with them on the ice, but that defense pairs at 71 shot attempts against them per 60 minutes, and there's 3 games together. They're giving up a lot of offense. And if you give up a lot of offense against the Dallas top line, that's at 3.4 expected goals per 60. It might not go well for you. And the Dallas power play has been great without Rantanen. Now, obviously, it was great with Rantanen, but without him, it's at 10.8 expected goals. Actual goals much higher. So they've been one of the best power play units in the NHL, even without him. Bork, for me, I think plays too many minutes to just kind of leave him off the stack. So it's almost kind of like what I would do with San Jose, where I said play San Jose and then add in Toffoli or Wenberg. It'd be kind of the same thing with Dallas, where I just play the top line and then add in Duchesne or Ben or both and just make it a 5-man or 6-man stack. This is a very, very good matchup for him. The Detroit penalty kill has been getting worse as the season's gone on. Started off like around league average since January 1st. They're basically in line with like the Ducks and Ottawa, again, right around league average. Like they've been getting a little bit worse as it's gone on. I really do like the Dallas top line here again tonight. Whether you want to play them over Montreal, I think is a fair question to ask. But given the heavy minutes that those guys are going to play, like even Bork will be at around 18 minutes. I find it really hard to get away from Dallas 1 here. I think again, like Dallas 2, if you want to throw them in, they're 11,600. Throw them in because you are playing Montreal or you are playing Los Angeles or one of the Tampa lines or something like that. Perfectly fine, no issue. They've been very good together. 3 expected goals, 59 shot attempts per 60. But this is a team where the offense really does revolve around the top line. So for me, I think in this game it's Dallas 1, but I'm if you want to add in a Duchesne or a Ben to that top stack, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, man, that Duchesne goal against the Oilers is disgusting. I know it was late in the game and the Oilers gave up, but that goal is nasty. Pittsburgh Penguins with a 2.8 total heading into Utah. Les Sockers have a 3.3 total. Pittsburgh going Raquel, Russ, Chinnikov, Novak, Mantha, Koivunen. Utah going Schmaltz, Keller, Krause, Cooley, Peterka, Genther. Now, this is a pretty interesting game. On the Pittsburgh side, it's the top line for me. And the easy answer is because, one, the Schmaltz line with Keller and Krause in a fairly large sample is below league average defensively. 2, the Pittsburgh top line is fully correlated. And 3, Utah takes an absolute boatload of penalties. So I do really like I've liked this Pittsburgh line since they've gotten together. There just hasn't been a spot for it. At 15,700 here tonight, I think there is a spot for it. The second and third lines don't really interest me. Like if you want to add in Novak to a power play stack or something, fine. But Novak, Mantha, Koivunen, and 9,700, they're just kind of been getting run over. And they're facing Cooley Genther, so I don't really love them. On the Utah side, it would probably also be the top line, just because, the first and the second line are $100 apart, 14.9, 14.8 for the second line. This isn't a good power play matchup, so I'm not particularly concerned about the power play spot. The top line has just been better than Cooley, Genther, Peterka. That's just the only reason. If you want to go to that second line, fine. The second line is coming in negatively leveraged, I believe, a little bit. Top line is too. They're both a little bit negative leveraged. The top line has a higher top 2, so I would defer to the top line. They also have better offensive numbers. So I would go Utah 1, fine with Utah 2, and only Pittsburgh 1.
Yeah, I don't dislike playing Pittsburgh 1 because at 15,700, they're perfectly correlated. And they're going to get a lot of minutes. Like even Chinnikov, it's kind of funny, leaves Columbus, goes to Pittsburgh, and he's played over 20 minutes in 3 of his last 4 games. Now, those are without Malkin and Crosby, but these guys are probably all going to play 20 to 22 minutes. So it's a lot of ice time for a perfectly correlated top line. They're going to see a lot of that Schmidt-Marino pairing. That pairing's at 2.1 expected goals, 1.8 actual at 5-on-5. Like they've been very, very good defensively. That worries me a little bit. So just because they get so many minutes, like I'm fine playing them. There's not that, considering the price and that they're perfectly correlated, there's really not that much ownership coming in on them. And the Sims did give me a little bit of positive leverage between 0.5 and 1.5% for every guy on the top line. So I don't mind Pitt 1. I think Pitt 2 might be where I would go just to use them as a filler and avoid that top pair. Mantha, Novak, and Koivunen aren't expensive. The thing is like, unless you're Tampa power play stacking, why would you need a Pittsburgh line that's under 10K? That's just kind of the way I look at it. Like, there's just not a lot of expensive options on the board here tonight. I guess Vegas, and we'll get to them in a second. But unless you really, really need a line that's 10K or less, I don't think I have a lot of interest in Pittsburgh here tonight. My interest is on the Utah side. for as shaky defensively as that top line can be, they're also at 3.2 expected goals for per 60. Keller and Schmaltz play around 19 minutes a game. I really do like that Utah top line here tonight. There's not a ton of ownership coming in on them. Like, there's a little bit of negative leverage for Utah 5.3% top two stacks, 6.9% ownership. But at 14.9, a little bit of negative leverage on a 10-game slate just doesn't bother me whatsoever. I believe it's Stewie Skinner going for the Penguins here tonight. Not been great since he got to Pittsburgh. So, like, I really do like Utah 1. If you want to drop down to Utah 2, I think that's okay. But Utah 1 has been just tremendous offensively at 5-on-5. Schmaltz and Keller get a ton of ice time. So you want to take out Krause and put in Genther or something, that's fine. But this isn't a very good power play matchup for Utah. So it's the 5-on-5 lines I'd be focused on. For me, it's Utah 1.
As the immortal Haas would say, you're shitting in my pancakes about Pittsburgh 1, but that's okay. We're not going to agree every time, and I just wanted to use that phrase. Let's get to a war of attrition. Seattle Kraken with a 3.2 total heading into Vancouver. The Canucks have a 2.9. No matter how you slice it, no matter what slate it's on, no matter when it is this season, this game sucks. Kraken going Beniers, McCann, Eberle, Stevenson, Gaudreau, Tolvanen, Wright, Kakko, Catton. Vancouver going Bluger, Sasson, Carlson. Like, that's the only line I have interest in. And again, there's no reason for them tonight. They're 7,800. Like, there's negative leverage on the Pettersson line, and there's negative leverage on the Marco Rossi line. If you're playing negative leverage Vancouver on a 10-game slate in single entry, I will forward you a number to a good therapist. I'm out on Vancouver. If you get a little bit in MME, I'll still send you that number for the therapist. My interest is on the Kraken side. That top, and it's just the top line. Like, I don't want to play Chandler Stevenson line. Congrats, got to get this win on shipping with them. But it would be McCann, Eberle, Beniers at 14.8, 6.2% top two, 9.3% projected ownership. Basically right in that Utah 1 and 2 price range. They are fully correlated in just under 300 minutes, 3.5 goals per 60. There's no matchup concerns. It's a good power play spot. It's a good 5-on-5 spot. So under double-digit ownership, frankly, feels quite nice for Seattle's top line, but it's the only line I really have interest in this game.
Yeah, because Rossi and Besser had a fairly big game in their last game. I think Besser had a goal and assist. Rossi had a 3-point night. So I was like, hey, maybe things have turned around since the Olympic break.
Nope.
Not at all. 42% shot share, getting outscored 6-3 in their 8 games together since the Olympic break. They had a good game against Nashville. It'll happen once in a while. You want to do it with negative leverage, go ahead. Interestingly, when I was looking through that game against Nashville, they used Sasson, Bluger, and Carlson as the shutdown matchup.
They should have.
I know, but like, crap. You have Elias Pettersson, you trade for Marco Rossi, and you're sending out Max Sasson and Linus Karlsson in the shutdown matchup. I was like, man, this is a team like 2 years ago might have been a cup contender.
Speaking of bad coaches.
Anyways, it's the Flying Blugers again. If you are playing Tampa power play or something like that, that is the stack. You want 2 men like Bluger and Carlson or whatever, like, because they're going to get shutdown matchups. They're going to get decent minutes. Hopefully not 11 and 12, maybe like 14, 15 or 13 to 15 for Sasson and Carlson. And like Bluger will be a little bit higher because of the PK, but using them if you need them as a filler. And I will say, like, the 4 skaters that the Sims gave back to me with decent amount of positive leverage. One of them is 2 of them are Besser and Ogren. I think that's fine. But one of them is Teddy Bluger, Linus Karlsson, not far behind, Philip Hronik with the most positive leverage. So it's not the Pettersson line. It's the cheaper guys. The Seattle side, like, I mean,
Oh no.
I guess Seattle has 3 playable lines here just because of the matchup, right? Like Tolvanen, Stevenson, Gaudreau, 9,600, right? Kako, Catton, 8,800. Again, if you want to throw them in because you are playing Tampa Bay power play or Vegas power play or something, that's fine. But I guess it's probably going back to McCann, Beniers, Eberle at 14,800. 2.7 expected goals, 3.6 actual since Christmas. That's when Jared McCann came back. McCann's gone 10 games without scoring, but he has 25 shots in that span. So he's still getting involved offensively. He's just hit a little bit of a cold spell. Nothing cures the common cold like facing the Vancouver Canucks. So I do like Seattle 1 here. They're another one of those lines in that mid-price range that is very playable here tonight. We just talked about Utah 1. Like they're in that price range that you can stick them in with. I think it's Seattle 1. Again, if you do need a super cheap line, I think Seattle, the Seattle third line, like a 2-man of like Wright and Kako or something like that is playable. Because like, if anything you want to say about the Vancouver Canucks and what this lineup looks like, Sasson and Carlson have generally had good defensive numbers together this season. Like with Ogren, they're at 36 shots against. With Bluger, they're at 39 per 60 minutes. Like that's tough defensively, actually. So I do think there are reasons to avoid Seattle 1 and just go play Wright and Kako as a depth, if you're playing Tampa power play or Vegas power play. But it's the cheap forwards for me in this game. But man, this is a tough matchup.
Yeah, if you have insomnia, just turn this on. It'll cure world insomnia.
Chicago. Am I losing my mind, or was this not the matchup a week ago on Hockey Night in Canada? Oh no, it was Seattle, Ottawa.
Just as bad, but not. Well, Ottawa's boring to watch. But anyway,
it was 2 weeks ago. February 28th, it was Seattle, Vancouver, and 2 weeks later, Hockey Night in Canada yet again. Here we are.
No wonder why Canada's job report was so bad. Everyone's staying up late to watch that game. Anyway, Chicago Blackhawks, they 2.5 total. Heading into Vegas, the Golden Knights have a 3.5. Blackhawks going Bedard, Green, Burakovsky, Nazar, Bertuzzi, Teravainen, Donato, Mangiapane, Soup, Ilya Mikheyev. Vegas going Eichel, Stone, Barbashev, Hurdle, Dorofeyev, Marner. I just went and checked. If you go Eichel, Hurdle, Dorofeyev, Marner, Stone, plus the most expensive goalie, you still have $10,000 left for both defensive spots and a utility. It's possible to power play stack them. Chicago's penalty kill without their 2 best penalty killers is probably not going to be great. Now, Spencer Knight made a surprise return the other night, but I haven't seen if he's in or not. Either way, it's some sort of Vegas power play stack. It's like, yeah, the more attractive line, I guess, would be Hurdle, Dorofeyev, Marner because they're cheaper. They're like 16 and change. But how do you leave Stone and Eichel off a power play stack? Like go look at Vegas power play numbers with and without Mark Stone. It's night and day. So I would probably just full on power play stack if I was playing Vegas. With Stone being back, I'm out on the Bedard line. It's like they are 13-5, so I guess they're playable in MME, but like Eichel, Stone, Barbashev is just a meat grinder. I just don't want anything to do with it. I don't really want to play Nazar, Bertuzzi, Teravainen. Like they are fully correlated. It's an atrocious power play spot, and they don't possess the puck ever. I guess by default, it would be like a 2-man of Donato, Mikheyev. But like most of their good numbers this season are with Dickinson, not with Donato at center. So I'm just straight up out on Chicago.
Yeah. I'll start on the Vegas side. When I ran the Sims for this game, the most positive leverage forward it gave back to me was Bo Horvat, which is interesting. The number 2 was Jack Eichel, plus 7% leverage. Sims really do love Eichel here. You know, that top line has been great for Vegas. This season, they're at 5.1 goals per 60 minutes together in 250 minutes. Over the last 2 years, over 700 minutes together, 5-on-5. Eichel, Stone, Barbashev are at 4.1 goals per 60 minutes. They're going to go out against a Bedard line that's at 3.5 expected goals against per 60 minutes since Bedard returned from his injury. That's a great matchup. And you mentioned the Chicago penalty kill. Their last 4 games, 10 expected goals against per 60, only 7.5 actual, but 7.5 actual would be about league average. If that's what they are the rest of the season, that's considerably worse than what they were over the first 50-plus games of the year. In fact, about 50% worse. And with this Vegas power play being as good as it is, 13.7 goals per 60 minutes with Mark Stone there, at the very least, I would want to play Vegas 1 because I'm just not playing Vegas without Jack Eichel in my lineup here tonight. At the very least, I'd play Vegas 1. I think I kind of agree with you. I would turn it into some sort of power play stack. Now, whether you want to 5-man it is a fair question. I would probably be inclined to include Dorofeev just because he's so integral on the power play. He's basically their best power play. He is their best power play goal scorer, right? So if you want to do like top line plus Dorofeev, or if you want to just take off Barbashev, make it a full power play stack, that's fine. Whatever I do with Vegas here tonight, it centers around Jack Eichel and Mark Stone. Whether you want to just play the top line, you can do that. Whether you want to take off Barbashev and add in Hurdle or Dorofeev or just play all 5, it's up to you. But at the very least, I'm centering around Jack Eichel. On the Chicago side, honestly, it might be the second line. Just because you avoid the Eichel-Stone matchup, you get to the depth. They are perfectly correlated on the power play. I'm not super excited about playing Chicago here tonight. There are a lot of lines in that price range that I think are very playable, even if, you're paying up between 12 and 14K. There's that Zegras Tippett line from Philadelphia. Depending what the Islanders, it might be a line there. Carolina 2, Los Angeles 2, the depth from Buffalo. Like, there are just other lines I'd rather play, so I'm out on Chicago.
Mark Stone needs to be studied. If he was a good skater, he would be one of the best players of all time. He's an atrocious skater.
Yeah, but he might still be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like,
I'm just saying,
the reason he fell to I think the reason he fell to the 5th round when he was a draft pick was because his skating sucked. It was the same thing with Jamie Benn. Here we are.
He's legit Benji Molina on skates. And he's it's one of the weirdest things. He needs to be studied. Anyway.
Oh, just before we go on, just posted Seattle Kraken lines. New top line of Beniers, Eberle, and Bobby McMahon. And Jared McCann down to the second line with Stevenson and Tolvanen.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But Bobby McMahon is basically a Walmart version of Jared McCann.
I think that's kind of slanderous to Jared McCann, but now that top line for Seattle is only 13,600.
Although Bobby is lightning fast. So interesting. Food for thought. Let's talk about defensemen. I'll include the 5K guys because there's only 3 in the top range. Zach Werenski, Rasmus Dahlin, Darren Radish, Alien Schaefer, Miro Heiskanen, Moritz Seider, Dougie Hamilton, Lane Hudson, Noah Dobson, Shane Gostisbehere if he plays. I don't think he is. Mikhail Sergachev, and Brant Clark still sneaking into that 5K range. The number 1 for me is going to be Zach Werenski, but he's also the most expensive by a mile. If you have 8,100, I'd play him. But if not, I'm going to Rasmus Dahlin at 7K. It's a great matchup against Toronto. I would imagine he sees a fair bit of ownership. I also imagine Matthew Schaefer is going to see a lot of ownership against the Flames at 5,900. He would be in my number 3. After that, I'd probably go to one of the Habs defensemen or Miro Heiskanen. Darren Radish, it's just a brutal power play spot for Darren Radish. So unless I was doing some Tampa stacks, I wouldn't really want off Darren Radish. I'd rather go to the Montreal guys.
Yeah, it's interesting. There are only 3 expensive defensemen here tonight. The Sims didn't give me really any of the expensive guys in my lineup. Like none of the 6K plus guys. Dahlin, Werenski, Radish would be the order for me by point per dollar. But Matthew Schaefer has the second highest positive leverage, 15% pool ownership, 28% exposure. Like the Sims really do love Matthew Schaefer here tonight. So I think if you don't want to pay all the way up for Werenski, I'm not super keen on Darren Radish. I think Dahlin is fine in the middle. Schaefer's going to have a lot of ownership, but he also has a very good point per dollar value, 2.06 points per fantasy points per $1,000 here tonight. So I think he's perfectly fine in that expensive range. For Montreal, I always say, like, if you want to one-off a defenseman, it's Noah Dobson. If you're stacking the top line for the Habs, I would probably include Lane Hudson instead. Mikhail Sergachev is kind of interesting. Like, he doesn't have a very good point per dollar value, but the Penguins have looked very shaky defensively since Crosby and Malkin both went out. So I don't think it's a huge surprise, but Sergachev, kind of interesting to me at 5,100. Brandon Montour, I think of every defenseman over 4K here tonight, he has the highest point per dollar projection. Makes a lot of sense at 4,500 on the road against Vancouver. So I really do like Montour. If you're stacking Seattle, it's like the Montreal situation. If I'm one-offing a defenseman, it's Montour. If I'm stacking Seattle, it's probably with Dunn because he's on the top power play. Rasmus Anderson at 4,200 against Chicago. Like, I just don't have any belief in Chicago whatsoever. Under 4K, Luke Hughes is the top projected defenseman.
Great PR in the fucking Stokastic projections too. That motherfucker.
Love to see it. Again, Shea Theodore, the third highest exposure for me, or leverage for me in the Sims. So Shea Theodore at 3,600, I think makes a lot of sense. Keandre Miller with no Gostisbehere, playing 21, 22, 23 minutes makes some sense. Owen Power, like, I'm pretty sure Matthias Samuelsson, he's either doubtful or out for tonight. So Owen Power might pick up some extra ice time here. I certainly don't mind Owen Power. Ryan Pulock, he projects reasonably well for 3,200. And then Adam Larson for Seattle. Under 3K, it's Simon Nemec, Adam Pelech, JJ Moser, Kevin Ball. I got a Kevin Ball goal on Thursday night with a Dallas stack.
2,700 that night.
Yeah. If only Columbus had done anything, I would have had a monster night, but got a Kevin Ball goal. I think Zach Whitecloud is back tonight, so it might cut into his ice time, but I don't mind Kevin Ball either.
I mean, it might cut into his ice time, and he'll play 24 minutes instead of 27.
That's true.
Let's talk about goalies. This is an unusually piss poor goalie selection in the top range. The Vegas starter is 8,500. I just don't do $8,500 goalies or up in GPPs. They're fine in cash. Honestly, I think in the top rank, I'm sure Alex Leon or Lyon, whatever it is going to have a wildly high projection. Buffalo goalies just give me agita. So, like, I think in the top range, it would be Jake Ottinger for me. Even Vejmelka at 8K. Like, Lyon and Dobish are fine. I'd probably prefer Lyon to Dobish, but I think it would be Jake Ottinger for me in the top range. Going down, whoever starts for Seattle is a fairly obvious start against Vancouver. You just got to watch out for Max Sasson. Vasilevsky at 7,900. He's going to see, a fair bit of shot volume. Jet Greaves, baby. We can finally say Jet Greaves. I needed to say that name. I don't mind him. Jake Allen as well. I don't have any faith in Devils goaltending, but it is Kings back-to-back on the road, and they generate a fair share of shot volume. For the cheap guys, I don't really want to play any of them. I guess it would be Devin Cooley at 7,300 against the Islanders back-to-back. If you have to go super cheap, I guess it would be Spencer Knight at 6,500. But this bottom range, I don't really want to play Nedeljkovic at 7,100. Don't really want to play John Gibson. Don't want to play Stewie Skinner. So I don't really want to play Joseph Woll. I guess Woll would be fine. Like if Toronto wins this game, it's certainly on the back of Joey Woll. But for me, it would be Devin Cooley or Spencer Knight.
Yeah, the top projected goalie is Alex Lyon. I don't think that's a big surprise to anybody. But the top leveraged goalie in the Sims when I ran it, and it wasn't even close, was Jake Allen. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's at home against Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a road back-to-back. Typically don't score a ton of goals. I think that makes sense.
Yeah,
so for me,
it makes sense. Doesn't feel great, though.
No, but Jake Allen does have the highest point per dollar value on the board here tonight. For me, it goes Allen 1, Ottinger 2, Lyon 3 for the expensive goalies. For the cheaper goalies, oh boy, it's not great. Yeah, Devin Cooley, I think is perfectly fine at his price. Anton Forsberg, like 7,600 is not super cheap, but the Devils, I mean, they have been scoring more lately, so that is a little bit of a concern. But Forsberg's generally had a pretty good season. For the super cheap goalie, it's probably Joseph Woll for the reason that you mentioned. It's like if Toronto wins that game, I don't think it's going to be an 8-7 game like we saw with Tampa and Buffalo last week. And I think if they win, it's going to be like 3-1 or 4-2, and Joseph Woll has 32 saves or something, right? So if you do need a punt, I think it's Joseph Woll. The top projected goalie amongst the super cheap guys is John Gibson in Dallas. Or sorry, he's the second highest behind Cooley. It goes Cooley, then John Gibson. I'd rather play Cooley.
Yeah. I mean, John Gibson's had a great season, but in Dallas is just not where you want to be without your top two centers. We'll be back next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday for sure. Friday is a question mark. We won't be here on Monday either. Who you liking for your hat trick pick?
You're going to love this one. Bobby McMahon.
I was going to say Bobby McMahon too. Oh, you know what? I got to keep the bit going. Screw the Leafs, Josh Doan.
Hey, fair enough. I like it.
Appreciate all the support here today. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you in the Discord.
Good luck tonight, everyone.